Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Call Halayim, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakafadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, Ha Bayat, Shah, Malak Dawada, House of King David, and to the confusion of faces that look like these other heathen nations, but their identity goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the royal holy chosen seed line. Shalom. Um, Alright, so I'm gonna give up this lesson talking about the confusion of faces and starting to explain, like giving off an example of like the type of confusion of faces that are amongst our people to this day. And that's one thing that what I say in the prayer that I do before the videos. I say, like, to the confusion of faces that are, because they're scattered amongst our people. They look like these heathens, but they actually, their identity goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is the royal holy chosen our forefathers. And that's where the and I'm gonna explain to y'all like how the confusion of faces, how it is and how it works. Okay, so and going back to what I was saying with the confusion of with that your nationality comes to your fathers, right? To the seed line of your fathers, and our forefathers are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it's just that, like, our people have been scattered all across the four corners of the earth. So it's like, and that was one of the curses of Deuteronomy 28. And it goes on to say that our people, since we've been scattered, we started to look like these heathens because we've started to dwell in their land, and we started to what you call it, like, also, like, our forefathers had, they also had children, amongst these heathens and stuff like that. And the Most High kind of did commanded our people to not really deal with these heathens like that. But, you know, back then when our people was in rulership, we kind of broke the laws. We didn't really care about the laws like that. So, and that was our punishment for Deuteronomy 28, how our people went to slavery because, we disobeyed what the Most High told us our people to do, you know. So, but let me see. It says right here in Daniel 7, O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces at this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, though all the countries whither thou hast driven them because of their trespass, they have trespassed against thee. O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. Yeah, we did sin against the Most High. And like I said, we didn't follow the laws and commandments back then. So that's why he scattered us amongst the heathens. What you call it? Deuteronomy 28 says this, like, like I was saying. And it said, verse 64, it's going to 65, it says, And the Lord and Adonai shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even to unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy feet have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing eyes and sorrow of mind. So you see, because our people, like, when our people was in rulership, our people didn't really care about following the laws, right? Because if you see, our people was in rulership for 1,000 years, back in history, and our people had our kingdom, we had our kingdoms built and all that. We didn't follow, our people didn't follow the laws back then. So that's why the Most High punished our people, because he wanted to basically show our people that, you know he wanted to basically make our people get humble and become righteous again. So that was the whole point of the story, and that's why our people have been punished like this. But and going to 61st 64, when it says about talking about wood and stone, our people was, that we will not know who our God is. Yeah, and look how long it took our people to understand, to come to this truth. Look how long this truth, like, this truth is spreading like wildfire now. But it's like, back then, it was hard to find this truth. And they gave Esau gave us Christianity, and these other heathens, they gave us Christianity, teaching us how to love and all that bullshit. And they're not even teaching us how to love. They're not teaching us a true love, because love is not really based on feelings and emotions. It's based on teaching you something that's for your benefit, which is this truth. And it's about not regarding your feelings in this truth, but it's about caring about the Most High's feelings, and and how He feels, especially about the way people sin. And sin is like, you should try to not do certain sins. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I don't want to get too much off track, but I just want to stay on track with this. Talking about the confusion of faces now. Let's see. Okay, one example of the confusion of faces is like the Dalits. They're the they're so poor. These people, they don't have a caste system in India. They're like below the caste system. So yeah, they're which is kind of like a violation. They're pretty much our people because they fit under the curses too. Because remember, our people, we used to rule the whole world at one point, you know, and other nations of people were serving our people for 1,000 years. And our people, we kind of did rule in wickedness, but nobody has ruled as wicked as Esau has ruled. So yeah, we did married a lot of different types of women, have children for different types of women and all that. So it's like, yeah. And and how it works with the confusion of faces is that, if the Israelite father gets with the heathen woman, and then that child, you know, they have a child, that child is gonna look like the mother. Usually, sometimes they come out like that, looking like the mother, and they start looking like heathens over time. And if that child gets with another heathen woman, they're gonna lose that Israelite appearance, but they still have that Israelite seed line. They still have that royal seed line because they come from that it comes from their forefathers. So that's how it works. And it says right here, there are 250 million Dalits in India, about 1/6 of the total population. Who are the Dalits? The Dalit means broken people. Dalits were formerly known as untouchables. Dalits live at the bottom of India's rigid social order known as the caste system. What is the caste system? The caste system originated around 7 AD. Caste is determined by birth, not race. Caste is based upon the Hindu belief that a person's position in life is based upon the good deeds and the sins of their past life. Well, that's kind of true and not true. Well, but the thing is that how Indians believe in reincarnation, they believe in it like this. Like, they believe that when you reincarnate, that you're what you call it, how they look at reincarnation, how the Indians look at it, they believe that you reincarnate as a bug or an animal sometimes. Like, that's going off. When you reincarnate, you actually come back as a human, from your same tribe. So if you was an Edomite, you coming back from the same nation too. When you're Edomite, you coming back as an Edomite. When you're an Israelite, you're coming back as an Israelite or a heathen. You're coming back as that. You know, yeah. You might be born with a mutation or whatever as judgment. Or you might be born handicapped. As a judgment. But for your past life. But the Most High, He judges you based on, and I'll make a video on that, explaining that. Explaining at Second Esdras 14 and 35. But caste determines Indian spouses, friends, occupations, and residence. How many castes are there? There are four major castes, hundreds of minor castes. Each caste has specific duties and privileges. Are Dalits in the caste? No. A fifth group was created to perform tasks considered too menial or degrading to be performed by caste members. Dalits are so low in the social hierarchy that they are outside of the caste system and considered as outcasts. Yep. And of course they're gonna violate. Of course these heathens are gonna violate our people like that because they know something special about our people. Yeah. And what is untouchability? Dalits are manual scavengers, the removers of human waste and dead animals, leather workers, street sweepers, and cobblers. The mere touch of a Dalit was considered pollutant to a caste member. Thus, the concept of untouchability was born. Isn't the untouchability illegal? Primo, the preamble The preamble to the Indian Constitution proclaims the goals of social justice and equality. Article 14 sets forth the principle of equality and prohibits discrimination in employment and education. The Constitution does not set forth a casteless society as a national goal. No law has been passed abolishing untouchability. The practice of untouchability is a punishable offense, but the law is rarely enforced. Are there affirmative actions for Dalits? Are there affirmative actions for Dalits? Yes, the Civil Rights Act of 1955 and the Scheduled Caste of Tribes Act of 1989. The National Commission of Scheduled Castes, Scheduled Tribes are formed to protect Dalit interests and integrate them into society. All programs have failed to produce substantive change. Yeah, it's bullshit. And I don't feel like anything is gonna happen unless Yahweh Shem Yahshai comes back and ends this Esau's rulership. Honestly, because this stuff ain't gonna stop it, in no time soon. Who called untouchability Indians hidden apartheid? Hmm. I'm not gonna read all this. I'm just making my point clear. You know, just gonna read the most important parts because I just want y'all to understand, like, these are our people just suffering in other countries. Dalits endure segregation in housing, schools, and access to public services. Dalits are denied access to land, forced to work in degrading conditions, and are routinely abused by the police and upper caste members. Dalits suffer discrimination in education, healthcare, housing, property, freedom of religion, free choice of employment, and equal treatment before the law. Dalits suffer routine violation of their right to life and security of person through state-sponsored or sanctioned acts of violence, including torture. Dalits suffer caste-motivated killings, rape, and other abuses on a daily basis. Damn. Man, that's really messed up that they go through a lot of this shit, man. And then our people over here living it up, thinking that this stuff is like, this is, that this is their freedom. No, this is your captivity. Because you see, our people are over here suffering all around the globe, and a lot of our people just don't care. You know, they don't want to understand this truth. They don't understand that, our people are just really suffering, and, you know, and, and what you call it, I think there was, let me see. Let me just look up, um, what else I wanted to look up about the Dalits. Let me just, I'll probably just look up some images of the people, just showing y'all that, you're not gonna really understand. Yeah, you see, they really look like Indians. Like they really look like the heathens. It's you wouldn't be able to tell that there are people. You know, they look so identical to the Elamites, which is so-called Indians. And I know one guy a lot of people look up to when it's coming to India. It's, is Mahatma Gandhi, and you even have some of our people, some Israelite people, especially from the Southern Kingdom, that think that this guy is someone to look up for, like he's a good activist. But in fact, he was actually he wasn't a good activist. He was a piece of shit, Mahatma Gandhi. His real name is Mohandas Gandhi, and I think Mahatma means great. He calls himself. Um, but yeah, and this is a lot about him that you know this is why you don't believe everything you see on TV and stuff like that. You don't believe on everything that that you hear what a lot of people say, because sometimes you gotta do deep research on people that like this bastard. You gotta do deep research on them. You understand like how he was. So I just want to let me see. It says Gandhi was on the categorically anti-black. um Let me see. Gandhi instead promoted racial segregation as a strategy to uplift Indians. often pitting Indians and blacks under colonial rule. It was his belief that Indians were better than blacks, who he referred to by the slur kafir in the newspaper. The Indian opinion, which he founded in 1904, created a platform for much of his anti-black rhetoric. Here is a sample of just one of his choice anti-black quotes from this time in South Africa. Ours is continued struggle against degradation, um, sought to be inflicted upon us by the European who desires to degrade us to the level of the raw kafir, whose occupation is hunting and whose sole ambition is to collect a certain number of cattle to buy a wife with, then pass his life in indolence and nakedness. This idea that Indians were better than Native Africans pervades his writings on apartheid, where he writes consistently of the need to mentally and physically separate Indians from indigenous Africans. Well, not really Africans, but Israelites. But even more appalling are his assertions of the indignities of being grouped with Africans by colonial entities. It was definitely anti-black stance that is in line with a casteist mindset obsessed with heritage and birthright. For his anti-blackness foreshadows his anti-Dalitness that will come to characterize his engagements with Dalits in India during independence. Wow. Let me see. Another example of his anti-blackness is where he makes the distinction that most Indians were not indigenous. This next quote reflects both his anti-black and anti-indigenous stance, and he names specifically an Indian Adivasi / indigenous tribe. The statute books describe the Indian as belonging to the Aboriginal or semi-barbarous race of Asia, while as a matter of fact there is hardly one Indian in South Africa belonging to the Aboriginal stock. The Santos of Assam will be as useless in South Africa as the natives of that country. He argues against colonial attempts to equate Indians with indigenous Africans because, in his view, indigenous people were barbarous and useless. Wow. So that shows you that this guy is a real racist scumbag. He doesn't care about our people. But let me go on. So, because the Indian in South Africa were largely not indigenous, even to India, in his mind, whites were making a mistake. This is not the perspective of a man dedicated to liberation and interracial harmony. They are the words of a racist, anti-indigenous bigot. Yeah, and this is not a model to build lasting freedom from empire, simply an example of how empire abets and continuous painful hierarchies with individuals who are willing to benefit of the exploitation of their fellow colonial subjects. Let me see. Gandhi was patronizing and anti-Dalit. I already read that. This is probably the hardest fact for die-hard Gandhi supporters to understand, particularly since his image in the West is so based on the idea that he singularly uplifted the plight of the untouchables here. Of course, because, America, which is one of the countries in the West, the famous countries in the West, they're going to, of course, lie, about a lot of supporters. They're going to lie about, they're going to say, oh, this person did so much great things. This person did such and such. America lies about a lot of people. They might say the person that did the greatest things, they're going to hide their evil history. And they're going to say the person that did the worst things, they might hide their good history, and that's the devil that Esau is. He lies about, a lot of things. And, you can't really trust a lot of people. That's why when you hear of the greatest people, you got to look deep into their history because, this bastard right here, Gandhi, and another thing in this article shows you that he's a dirty ass pedophile, rapist. Gandhi was a misogynist and a sexual predator. These dirty ass heathens, man. These experiments were aimed at his testing his vows of celibacy by putting himself in a predatory closeness to a woman of all ages. Disgusting pig. Nasty ass bastard. This included sleeping, bathing, and receiving massages from them while they were naked. So I know he did it with our woman too. Mm-mm-mm. When I first learned about Gandhi's experiment in which a girl took off her clothes and lay under the same cover with him, and he tried to find out if any sexual feeling was evoked in him or his companion, I felt gently surprised. Personally, I would not tempt myself like that. More than that, my respect for woman would prevent me from treating her as an instrument in my experiment. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. And I forgot there was one thing about Gandhi that I forgot what there was something about him. Um, let me see. Okay, there was one thing that he said. I remember Gandhi. He did say he referred to the Dalits as the Harijan, which meant children of God. And yeah, basically in the Dalits, like I said, they're our people. You know, they still come from that. They still come from Yasharahla, which is Prince of the Power. They still come from that Israelite lineage. You know, our people are just cursed. So, and it says, I do not want to be reborn, but if I have to be reborn, I will be reborn as untouchable so that I may share their sorrows and affronts leveled at them in order that I may endeavor to free myself and them from that miserable condition, he said. Bullshit. Um, of all the national leaders, Mahatma Gandhi was the foremost embodiment of dreams, aspirations of the groups that have been considered as outcasts or untouchables for centuries, which is a lie. Um, but Gandhi did call them Harijan, which is man of God. Today, they are called Dalits, a Sanskrit term meaning ground, oppressed, crushed, or broken people. But yeah, but I mean, I would say like at least he is right about that. That they are the children of God. You know, because they're our people are special people. We are peculiar people, and if you look into it, the Dalits are every time if I put like if you put something about rape, Dalits are like one of the they get raped a lot pretty much and the crimes rose up to 90%. They said our women, do you see our women all around the country, all around the globe, they getting raped a lot. And let me see the rape statistics in 2019. Let's see. This is 5 women raped every day in Delhi last year. Wow. With 30,000 rape cases, only 1 in 4 convicted. That's crazy. Criminal justice system is failing victims of sexual violence. Yeah, this is sickening. And you see, and that's something that happens. And I know Mahatma Gandhi was behind. I know he did rape some of our women too. And don't worry, and just like in the kingdom, when all these heathens, when they go into slavery, their woman is gonna be raped every fucking day. It's gonna be a righteous thing. I mean, their woman's gonna be down with it anyway because they're gonna basically want to stay away from their men because you see, according to Isaiah 24, their men is just gonna fall in the pits of the earth. They're gonna they're gonna be shut up in the pits of the earth. Yep. And the only time they're gonna work is that's where they're gonna live, and that's where they're gonna that's their resting place. You know, work their asses 24/6, and I'll do a lesson on that. Speaking about the book of Obadiah, their judgment, because they think that they want to oppress our people, right? And then having our people live in these shithole communities. Um, if you look in the Dalits community, their communities are like what you call it? Let me see that like their houses and stuff. Look at the shithole. Like look at the shithole that the government puts our people through. You see? And they do it in America too, like with the projects. And thank God I don't live in no project. I never was raised up in there. You know, that was all from the Willie. How watching me outside. But this is their communities. Their communities is bad. They like live on the slumlord type of communities. Look at that, the houses and stuff. They don't care about our people, the government. And you see, and then they talk about over here social activists, or that they're gonna help do something, that they're gonna donate money to do shit. They ain't doing shit for our people, man. They're gonna have our people struggling. They ain't doing shit. The only person we gotta wait on to come to actually put an end to all this is Yahweh Shai. And we gotta wait for Yahweh Bashim Yahshai to send Yahweh Shai to do that. You know. Because this is not gonna stop. No matter how much our people protest, this is not gonna stop. These heathens are gonna still keep oppressing our people. They're still gonna keep ruling over our people, unless Yahweh Shai, comes to intervene. And it's just gonna get worse from there. So I hope I made this lesson edifying. And I would like to give all glory, honor, praises to Adonai Yahweh Bashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Double honors to apostles, elders of great millstone. Peace, salutation, hopeful elect. Shalom.